She got married December at the old dairy farm, and her wedding is up on Green Wedding Shoes, which is a huge wedding blog that we love. And she actually did her wedding flowers. Well, we assisted. We did a lot of it too. So our team did them. And today, since she's the owner of the company and she assisted making her own flowers, we just want to kind of talk about the pros and cons of doing your own wedding flowers and what the work that actually goes into that process looks like. And yeah, because we have a lot of brides that ask us what that process is like if they don't need a florist and they want to do it themselves.
Okay, so you did your own wedding flowers.
Ah, well, with the team.
With the team,
It was
yeah.
a big team.
How did you pick the colors that you wanted to?
The colors, we kind of just went with the colors that we like. So a lot of the colors and styles of everything was inspired by our home. So it was super easy.
Okay, and so what exactly does that process look like, deciding to do your own wedding flowers?
A lot of it is, I mean, you have to kind of, you have to have a vision, and you have to have, like, if you're doing your own, you don't have to have like a proposal per se, but you need to at least have some sort of like list of what all you're doing. So, I mean, for myself, I did make a proposal, which it was like, bridal bouquet, this is what it's gonna look like. I didn't have bridesmaids, so boutonnieres, these are what they're gonna look like.
Having picture inspiration.
And it had a ton of pictures, so it was like, I knew what everything was going to look like. So I feel like that's kind of step one, because you can't just, it would be really hard to be like, okay, I'm gonna do my own flowers. Oh, I need to order. Oh, but how do I know how much I need? So
you walk in and figure something
you
out.
have to, you have to like have a list of what you need, and then from there, you have to figure out how much of each type of flower do you need to order. So, like how many dahlias do we need? How many eucalyptus? And then you also have to keep in mind that you're working within a budget. So, you probably, like, you might not want to spend $2,000 on a bunch of peonies. Like, that's your whole budget. So you have to kind of basically, I mean, we have like a calculator that we kind of use to figure out the recipe, and then you have to order everything. We work with multiple wholesalers, so for us it's a pretty simple process as far as ordering, and we know like where to get certain things. So like we know that if we're gonna order peonies, for example, we might get them from these people versus like regular roses we might get here. Certain types of greenery we'll get from these guys. So there's a lot that goes into like getting everything ready.
What was the hardest part about making your own or doing your own flowers?
I think the hardest part was, I don't know, there's just a lot of things going on that week that like I kind of like wish that I could have done. Like all my friends from my sorority from college were in town that week, and it was like I didn't really get to spend that much time with them, and I never get to see them. But like we were busy all day on Friday setting up everything. So it's like instead of just getting to like hang out with friends, I mean, we were working really, really, really hard all day Thursday, all day Friday, and then it was like I didn't even end up having time to go get my toes done. Like there were just things that I think I wish I could have like relaxed a little bit more. That like when you're doing your own flowers, like it's a lot of work.
What was the best part about getting to do your own flowers?
Just that like there was complete freedom in how everything looked, and just like seeing a vision like come to life that was something that was different from like what we maybe normally do, or not normally do, but like just seeing the whole vision that like was my dream become real was like really exciting.
What are
And my family helped us set up, so that was super fun. I loved getting to hang out with my little cousins. Like one of my little cousins was hiding dinosaurs everywhere, which was super cute. And then my nephews were helping too, which was really fun.
What are some tips you would give brides who want to do their own?
I've got one. Can I chime in?
Yep, you can come down.
Don't
to this
underestimate the amount of work that it is.
Also, it's not just the flowers that you're purchasing. It's going to be any vases or containers that the arrangements are in. Also, in order to do flowers, we have a ton of supplies that you need to purchase as well, such as fabric scissors, and cutters, and different types of tape, and boutonniere pins, and all the ribbons,
Hot
and
glue guns. Zip ties.
and we use all that stuff for basically every wedding we do. So it's not like, oh, you might need it or you might not need it. Like, you need a lot of supplies, and that can actually bring up your budget a little bit more too, by like getting buckets for your flowers, buying flower food.
Like, where are you going to keep all the flowers?
Do you have somewhere that's cold enough? Just all the little things to think about.
How are you going to transport all of it?
Like, if you are from out of town,
When are you going to set it up?
if you're from out of town staying in a hotel, do you want your whole hotel covered in flowers, or is that going to stress you out on the day of the wedding? So just having like your prep space and where you're going to do the flowers organized and all your supplies is something to think about, if that's going to stress you out, or if you're an okay person to do that. A lot goes into flowers, and like a lot of times, maybe you're going to do it and it's not going to be your vision. You're going to have to redo things. Like, it's a lot of time and effort.
But if you want something like more simple, then I think like go for it.
Yeah. I will say, if you're somebody that's never touched a flower in the day of your life, and you don't consider yourself a creative person, like, the idea of putting your bouquet together might be really stressful.
We do have some clients though who will like DIY some portions,
And then we'll do their personal.
Yeah, like, and I think that's also kind of a fun idea if you know you do really want to be involved, but you don't necessarily want to take on everything, or maybe you're like, I don't
Your
know how
budget
to.
doesn't allow for it.
I don't know how to do a boutonniere or a wrist corsage. Then those things, like the mechanics of those, might be something that you do want to hire a professional.
What would you do? Would you do it again if you had to?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I mean,
If this wasn't your job, though,
if this was not my job, no, there's no way. But I mean, I think I would. I think the hard part was like we had to set up a lot of stuff in the rain, so like there were just things that like I think I noticed that maybe other people didn't notice. That I was like, oh, if I could have set that up on the wedding day, which normally your florist will, then like those things wouldn't have happened. And it was like really minor things, but like it's just stuff like we had pampas grass, which literally, if you've ever had pampas grass, it gets everywhere. So it was like there were things like some of the tables, like the pampas grass was blowing and it was like all over the tables, and like I noticed that. I don't know if my guests noticed it, but if you have like a florist, they'll make sure that when they're like putting that stuff out, that there's not pampas grass dust everywhere. But I'm just super OCD.
Do you think that you would recommend doing your own flowers, or would you?
I think that just really depends on the type of person you are. How big is your wedding, and like what's your wedding budget? So if you are trying to do something like pretty simple, then I think go for it. And if that was what you're deciding, then my biggest recommendation would be to get vases that you will use in your house, so that you're not just like, because vases add up, so like you don't want to just buy a bunch of bud vases. Like, what are you going to do with these after the wedding? Instead, like, maybe try to think of things that you can either have in your house or gift to people. That way you're like using that budget wisely.
All right. Any final statements? Anything that I mean, your wedding was featured on the blog, so is there anything that you just are really happy that you did with it, or really like things you would have changed, or anything like that?
Do you guys think I could have made my bouquet any bigger?
It was massive.
Mackenzie just rolled her eyes at me. I tried really hard, like I really wanted it to be even bigger, but I can't even describe to you how heavy it was. And I actually like made it with a cage, so like the mechanics of it were pretty insane. There was like a foam piece in it that was was a bouquet holder, but then like I put too many flowers in that, so then I had to like, it was like a bouquet, and then I like attached another bouquet around it, and I really wanted to keep going, but I couldn't. I just like it got to a point where it was like the way that I had to hold it was like.
You were surprisingly not as stressed about your bouquets, I assume.
There was like 2 pieces like this inside of it that I like had to hold like this. Mackenzie said I wasn't stressed about it. I don't think I stressed that bad. Funny story. I was so excited to get to the venue on Friday, the day we were setting up, that I packed up the trailer at my house bright and early, and then I drive, and then I get there, and then Alex calls me and says, "Hey Nicole, did you leave the trailer open? Because there's boxes of our wedding stuff all over our neighborhood." And I sure did. But it all worked out.
But it all worked out. All right. Well, then that's it. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us, Nicole.
If you don't want to DIY your wedding flowers, we do flowers. Look at
Could
that.
you not? Could you
Look at that.
not pick one up from?
We
what's
also
going
do
on?
greenery.
Yeah. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
It might be